Sometimes the goal of tapping isn't to feel better. And I know that sounds weird, but it's actually true. One of my favorite ways of tapping has nothing to do with transforming the way I am feeling in this moment, but instead simply being present to that. Today in the podcast, we are going to explore one of my favorite and one of the most underrated versions of tapping. This is Monterastelli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast recorded live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 619, originally aired July 10th, 2024. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to join me. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. One of the reasons why I love tapping so much is it is so versatile. We can use it to transform an emotion, change our state, take care of a physical issue, clear a limiting belief, healing a past trauma, and that's just to name a few. And in every single one of those instances, the goal is to release something that is negative or to add something that is positive, or both, to move from the negative to the positive. But that's not always the best way for us to tap, and that's not the only thing that we can do. Now, if you are new to tapping and you have no idea what I'm talking about, tapping is this absolutely amazing tool that we can use to transform our experience, that we can use on our own, on our body, wherever we are. If you are new to tapping, all you need to do is follow the little red arrow in the upper right-hand corner. That will take you to learn2tap.com. It will give you all the basics so you can get the most out of this amazing tool that I use every single day. As I'm recording this episode, it is Monday afternoon, 4 days before the 24 hours of tapping. And this morning, as I was getting up and I was stepping into my day, I was not in the best place, and that is an understatement of what was going on. Dealing with lots of things, some sleep issues, a lower back issue, frustration around a bunch of details around the event, a sense of disappointment at the number of people who haven't signed up for the event yet. And so as I stepped into my office, as I was getting ready to go into the day, I just had it. I was really, really struggling. And that was showing up where my focus wasn't very good. I was making mistakes. I was reading texts and emails from my team, and I wasn't reading them clearly. And I realized I needed to do something about it. And as a tapper, obviously, one of the things that I reached for was tapping. But as I did that tapping, I wasn't trying to change the way I was feeling. I wasn't trying to clear the resistance to taking action. I wasn't trying to make my brain sharper. I wasn't future casting a bunch of things going well over the course of the week to set myself up. Instead, what I did is I just started to tap, and I just tuned into everything that I was feeling. I tuned into that constellation of emotion, the fatigue, the overwhelm, the disappointment, the frustration, the physical pain. And as I tuned into it, just slowly, ever so slowly, I just let the emotion build, and I let the emotion build, and I tuned into it more, and I tuned into it more. And about 45 seconds into it, I started to cry. And then I cried, and then I cried, and then I cried, and as I tapped, I cried, and I took a deep breath, and I wiped my snotty nose, and then I kept tapping, and I kept crying. And about 10 minutes later, I felt better. None of the problems were solved. I still had issues of things in front of me not working out. I still had an event that I was disappointed about the number of people showing up to. I still had the physical sensation of the fatigue that I'm dealing with. But I was in a much better place. And the reason why I was in a better place is I simply gave myself permission to feel what I was feeling. And I know lots of people in the tapping space say, yes, feel what you were feeling, because we can change it to something else. And there are times that's exactly what I do. This afternoon, I was working with a client, and I was super adamant about trying to help her to create a new resource space, not just be stuck, but to act in a new way. That's not always the best way for us to move forward. Sometimes all we need to do is feel what we're feeling, and sometimes we actually have to give ourselves permission to do exactly that. This type of tapping is not new to me. This type of tapping is something that happens from time to time. I was actually working with a client last week who was in a work circumstance where she was really angry, justifiably angry because of some things that were happening at work. And it wasn't just that she was being treated poorly at work, and it wasn't just there were going to be negative consequences. There were actual consequences that impacted people's lives in medical ways because of how things were being done. And so we were doing our work on our session, and I said, the homework I have for you is I want you to tap, and I want you to just feel angry. Tune into the anger and have it be heard. The anger you are feeling is a part of you that feels attack and wants to fight to protect the people you serve. You have permission to just be angry. And my client looked at me and said, really? I'm allowed to do that? I think it's so important as part of the human experience to give ourselves permission to feel what we are feeling. And in the general culture, step up or lift, push your way through, don't be an emotional burden to other people. General population, even in the transformational space, like I mentioned before, we're in a circumstance that I can tune in if I'm doing it actively so I can transform. And for me, it's so valuable to just feel what we are feeling, to be honest about where we are, to be honest about our frustration, our disappointment, about what sucks. And there's a part of us that's afraid that if I acknowledge that and I tune into it, I'm going to become overwhelmed by that. But in most cases, my lived experience is that part of me wants to be heard, that part of me wants to be acknowledged. It doesn't want to be stuffed down and pushed to the side and help me to just fight my way through it. And obviously, this isn't something I do every moment of the day. I don't wallow in my emotions. But there are times where it's super, super valuable. And so this is what the tapping looks like. And I would encourage you to tap along with me if you're in a space that's safe and available for you to do that. Just tap on the side of your hand. Just take a nice big deep breath. And just move from tapping point to tapping point, repeating after me. And if you can do it out loud, if you're in a space that's allowed to do that, go right ahead. I give myself permission to feel my emotions. I give myself permission to feel my emotions. I give myself permission to acknowledge my emotions. I give myself permission to acknowledge my emotions. And as I hear my emotions, and I acknowledge my emotions, I'm not trying to change them. I'm not trying to transform them. I'm not trying to heal them. I am just feeling them. Because my emotions are worthy of being heard. And I am worthy of hearing my emotions. And just complete these phrases. Right now I feel. And I'm allowed to feel that. Right now I feel. And I am allowed to feel that. Right now I feel. And I am allowed to feel that. Right now I feel. And it is safe to feel that. Right now I feel. And it is safe for me to feel that. And as you continue to tap, just listen. Don't try and understand. Don't process. Don't worry about understanding. Give yourself permission not to have to know what comes next. Be human and feel. Be human and feel. Be human and feel. And if you'd like to keep tapping in this way, just hit pause. Be present in this moment and just continue to tap and continue to be present. Now, sometimes when I tap in this way, reframes show up. Sometimes when I tap in this way, insight arrives, new action shows up, a specific something to tap on to clear is there. But that is a happy accident. That is a lucky fruit of this particular work. Tapping in this way is just allowing myself to be human, to be frail, to feel those things without feeling like I have to do more, without feeling like I have to change, without feeling like I have to be different. You're human. You're allowed to have emotions. It's beautiful that we have emotions. It's overwhelming that we have emotions. But we have emotions. And to deny your emotions is to deny your humanity. To not experience your emotions is going to make it hard. And we don't experience them all the time. And we want to do it in a safe space. And we want to do it in a safe way. Like I did this morning, sitting here in my office by myself in a way that was safe, in a way that wasn't going to cause problems. But more than likely, there's a part of you that isn't going to err on the side of doing it too much. More than likely, there's a part of you that's going to err on the side of not doing it enough. So if you are unwilling to give yourself permission to just feel, I give you permission to just feel. And if me saying that is not enough, send me an email, support@tappingqanda.com. I will handwrite and send you a permission slip, giving you permission to heal. Obviously, that was not the podcast I'd planned for this particular week, but it was the tapping that I needed to do today. And maybe it's the tapping you need to do today as well. If there is someone in your life who would appreciate a reflection like this, I don't know if there is, but if there is, pass this along to them. Say, hey, Gene shared this really wacky thing today that I think you might find useful. And even if they don't listen to this, even if they don't tap along, the simple fact you've reached out and recognized them and recognize their human experience is going to make a difference for them today. Every single time I say that, it feels so cheesy, but every single time I say it, I believe it even more. As we're navigating all of this, we need each other. There's someone in your life you can reach out to today and just show a little support to them. And you can reach out to yourself today, show support to yourself, and give yourself permission to feel. As you look at the screen right now, you can see a link to all of the past podcasts. They're not all like this. There's lots of great instructions, lots of great tap-alongs. I look forward to talking to you and tapping with you again real soon.